many people here have been abducted by space aliens? One? Just one? Anybody? Okay, the rest of you are wrong. We've all been abducted by space aliens. Don't feel like you're left out. We've all been zapped by that amnesia thing that they have in Men in Black. But I have it on great authority from an expert who has podcasts and a blog and everything. And I can prove it to you. Aliens use a very specific type of restraining device. It's kind of like a big ski boot. Kind of clamps over your foot and your lower leg. And the way you can tell if you've been abducted is this boot leaves a little bit of a notch in your shin bone. So go ahead. Run your hand over your shin bone. You feel a little notch there. You know you've been abducted by space aliens. Now that you know the truth, do you feel different? I'll tell you how I got involved in all this. Years and years ago when the X-Files was a big hit, there was a big resurgence of interest in crop circles and alien abductions and UFOs and that sort of thing. And I got a call to work on a documentary about alien abductions. We were going to do a profile of a family out in central Pennsylvania that had been abducted. And it was kind of a weird job from the beginning because I wasn't given an address to go to. I was given a rendezvous point, which turned out to be a parking lot way the hell out in the middle of nowhere. We showed up, and the guy showed up and said, "Follow me," and we went way out in the country to a barn where we met the family who had been abducted. They were very nice to us, very pleasant. The father was obviously the ringleader. He started talking when we arrived and didn't stop the whole time we were there. He had been on TV and radio and at conventions before, so he knew everything there was to know about aliens and UFOs. He knew what star they were from. He knew why they were here. He knew what they wanted and why they were probing us. And so we interviewed him first. And while he had all those great details, he was kind of sketchy on his own personal experience. He didn't really remember when he had first been abducted. He didn't really remember much about the time he and his family had been abducted. So we moved on and we interviewed the kids. It was kind of obvious that the kids had been really rehearsed because they really only had two answers, and no matter what question we asked, and then as soon as they were done, they would look over at Dad to see if they had gotten the right answer. If they paused for like a detail, Dad would blurt it out. No, it's the salamander people, or whatever. The producer finally had to tell Dad, hey, you got to calm down. We can't use any of the answers that you blurt out from the background. So we finished up with the kids. We were going to interview the mom. And, the dad just couldn't control himself. He was, she would pause and think of a detail, and the mom and the dad would go, no, it's the blue Arcturans from Beta Reticuli. So finally the producer said, listen, man, I can't use the segments when you blurting stuff out. So take the kids, go someplace else, come back in an hour, we're going to interview your wife, and then we'll be done. I have to tell you that there was a physical change in the mom after the dad left, where she had been sitting upright and answered directly to the director before. Now she was kind of slumped in her chair. She wasn't making eye contact with anybody, and she was kind of tracing these little forms on the table in front of her. She was giving us like 1 or 2 word answers until the director asked her to talk about the first time her family had been abducted. She said she woke up in the middle of the night. She thought that there was a noise. She went to, her husband wasn't in bed next to her, so she went to check on her daughter, who was an infant at the time. Daughter was asleep in the crib. She went to her son's bedroom. Her son was gone. Went downstairs. Back door was open. She went outside. She walked around the house. Nothing. She heard a sound in the barn. When she opened the door to the barn, there was her husband and her son naked. And the son was covered in some sort of goo. He was kind of catatonic, couldn't move, couldn't sleep, and immediately the dad started talking about, You must have scared the space aliens away. They, you know, maybe we can catch them. The rest of us on the crew just kind of looked at each other like, what's going on here? The director asked about another time her family had been abducted, and she said she woke up in the middle of the night again, went out in the hall, and there was this incredibly bright light coming out from under her son's doorway. And she stepped toward the door, and the floorboard creaked, and the light went out. She went in the door, and there was her husband, standing naked over the bed where her children were laying naked, covered in some sort of goo. And she got up, the mom got up and left. Dad and the kids never came back. We waited, we packed up our gear, left. The segment never aired. Now I gotta ask you, now that you know the truth, you feel different?